በእኛ ጊዜ ዩቲዩብ ተከታታዮች እንዴት ናችሁ? ሰላም ናችሁ? ሰላማችሁ ይብዛ። ዛሬ ፕላንት አሴትን እንዴት ቫሉዌሽን ወይም ደግሞ ቫልዩ እናደርጋቸዋለን በሚል ርዕስ ይዤላችሁ መጥቻለሁ ማለት ነው። አዲስ ለሆናችሁ ለዚህ ዩቲዩብ ቻናል ላይክ፣ ሼር፣ ሰብስክራይብ ማድረግዎን አይርሱ። እንኳን ወደዚህ ትምህርት አዘልና ቁም ነገር አዘል ዩቲዩብ ቻናል በደህና መጡ እያል ወደ ዋናው ርዕሳችን ወይም ደግሞ ጉዳያችን እንገባለን ማለት ነው። ስለዚህ እዚህ የምታዩት እንትኑ ጋር ቪዲዮ ጋር ኤክስቼንጅ ኦፍ ነን ሞኔታሪ አሴት ይላል። ኤክስቼንጅ ኦፍ ነን ሞኔታሪ አሴት ይላል። ባለፈው ስለ ሂስቶሪካል ኮስት እንዴት ቫልዩ እንደምናደርጋቸውና ካፒታላይዜሽን ወይም ደግሞ ኢንተረስት ካፒታላይዜሽንን በተመለከተ አጠቃላይ የፕላንት ፕሮፐርቲ ኤንድ ኢኩፕመንት ሜዥር እያደረግን ነበረ። ዛሬ ደግሞ አንዳንዴ አሴቶች በአዘር ዛን ሂስቶሪካል ኮስት ቫልዩ ሊደረጉ ይችላሉ ማለት ነው። ስለዚህ አንደኛ አሴቶችን አዘር ዛን ሂስቶሪካል ኮስት ቫልዩ የምናደርግበት መንገድ በቤዝድ ኦን ኤክስቼንጅ ወይም ደግሞ ነን ሞኔታሪ ኤክስቼንጅ ሬት ነን ሞኔታሪ ኤክስቼንጅ ይሆናል ማለት ነው። ወይም exchange of non-monetary asset ይሆናል ማለት ነው። In the previous discussion we was discuss about how to value for plant property and equipment based on their historical cost with including the capitalization of interest rate. But in most cases there may not be valued for such types of historical cost for the value of plant property and equipment. Therefore, in some case, company can value plant property and equipment by different valuation method. For instance, cash discount method, deferred payment method, lump sum purchase, as well as and other also by issuing of some common stock and exchange of non-monetary asset are the method to value plant property and equipment other than cost, because these the three or the four method to valuation of plant property and equipment based on their historical or the historical based on their that is the fair value based on their fair value or the present value of market rather than based on their initial cost as well as the historical cost of plant properties and equipment. Therefore, when you see this exchange of non-monetary assets, we can value the present value of plant property and equipment. Therefore, exchange of non-monetary asset is one example to value plant property and equipment other than cost. Therefore, how to determining exchange of non-monetary asset and how to determining the cost of the new asset and how to determining the gain and loss under exchange of in this scenario. Therefore, when we come to in our discussion, the exchange of non-monetary asset means which is the value of the asset which is given up or the value of which is received. We can value for property, plants and equipment. Therefore, one company to exchange their asset to another asset, or when company to exchange non-monetary asset with another asset, this can be incur loss or gain. Therefore, how to recognizing and the loss and gain is the main issue for the exchange of non-monetary asset. Therefore, the main issue to determining gain and loss or the recognizing for the gain and loss is the issue for exchange of non-monetary asset. As I told before, to acquiring a plant property and equipment based on their historical cost, we can't or we shouldn't recognize the gain and loss because we use the assets as the operational purpose rather than the resale purpose. But when the company to exchange your plant property and equipment, there may be gain and loss. So how to recognizing this one? How to recognize gain and loss? Shall company to recognize gain or loss, or else it differ to recognize gain and loss? Therefore, when you come to recognizing about this gain and loss at the time of exchange, if and only if the exchange has a commercial substance. Okay, exchange has a commercial substance. Because if there is asset have a commercial substance, or the coming asset have a commercial substance means the cash flow of the result of the transaction is changed, or the economic activity based on this coming asset is changed. So we can say the asset or the exchange as commercial substance. Due to the case, we can recognize gain and loss inside types of exchange. So we will see in detail. Before that, what does it mean commercial substance in exchange? What does it mean commercial substance in exchange? As indicated above, that means asset have a commercial substance. The fair value is the base for the measuring of the acquiring in non-monetary asset if the transactions that have to be a commercial substance. So exchange has a commercial substance. If we say exchange has a commercial substance, then the cash flow from the result of the exchange is just changed, or the future cash flow is changed as the result of the transaction. Whether similar asset or non-similar asset, if the cash flow is changed, then we can say the asset has a commercial substance or the exchange has a commercial substance. Due to the case, we can recognize both gain and loss without any confusion. That is, if two parties which is economic position is changed, so the transaction that have a commercial substance. Transaction has a commercial substance. Okay, transaction has a commercial substance. So in order to identify or evaluating the asset whether or the exchange whether commercial substance or not, in order to determining or recognizing the gain and the loss. Therefore, in exchange, you have to determining the gain and the loss because it is the mandatory issue for the exchange. Then, in order to determining about the gain, simply you have to compare and contrast the book value of the asset, the value at the time of exchange, and the cash flow, or the current fair value of the asset that is given up. Here is your asset. Assume then the cash flow of the asset given up is greater than the book value of the asset also given up. That means if you have an asset and if you change it to the asset with another asset, so you should evaluate your asset with the fair value and you should calculate the book value of your asset. After that, you have to compare the current fair value or the market value of your asset, old asset, and the book value of your asset, book value with the difference between the original cost or historical cost with accumulated depreciation. Then if the the current fair value of the asset or the fair value of the asset is greater than the book value of the asset, then you can or you have a gain on your asset, and there is a reverse is true. If it is less than the book value of the asset, here is loss. Best example, if the current fair value, if the fair value of the asset, the fair value of the asset is assume 18,000, the fair value of the asset is 18,000, and the book value of the asset, we can capitalize this one, book value of the asset is equal to 6,000. Then by comparing this one, assume this asset is your the old asset, then by comparing these two things, the current fair value of the asset and the book value of the asset, you can understand the gain and the loss. If the current fair value of the asset is 80,000 and the book value of the asset is 6,000, therefore we can recognize gain that is 2,000. The difference between 8,000 and 10,000. The difference between 8,000 and 10,000 is equal to 2,000. Therefore, 2,000 is a gain. And if the current fair value of the asset is equal to is assume 6,000 is the reverse, and the book value of the asset is 8,000. Therefore, our asset is understated. The current fair value than the book value. Therefore, the loss is 2,000. So, how to recognize the loss and the gain if there is a commercial substance. Therefore, if the asset or during the time of exchange, if those exchange have a commercial substance, then we should recognize gain and loss. Okay, the full gain and loss, the full gain and loss immediately, the full gain and loss immediately. Therefore, what is the criteria to recognize the gain and loss? You should have these three things. One, if the exchange has a commercial substance. As I said before, a commercial substance means the cash flow is changed due to the result of the exchange, or the economic position is changed, or the economic activity of the business is changed due to the coming asset or result of the exchange. Therefore, the gain and loss should be recognized immediately without any confusion. Without any confusion, you can recognize the gain and loss if the sentence or if the transaction that have a commercial substance. Okay, if it is a lack of commercial substance, especially which happened on similar asset. Why similar asset? Mostly lack of commercial substance, because the economic activity for the coming asset and the new asset or on the exchange is similar. Therefore, there is no any significant influence in our cash flow. Therefore, there is in most case lack of commercial substance inside types of exchange. Therefore, if there is a lack of commercial substance in our exchange and immediately if there is no cash received, therefore we can to just defer our gain and recognize the loss of immediately. Recognize the loss immediately, which means deferred gain means just we shouldn't recognize the gain even if there is a gain on the exchange. Even if there is a gain on exchange, we erase the gain for recording as well as recognizing the value unless the loss. If there is a loss, in most cases we recognize, in most criteria the loss is recognized in exchange. Okay, whether it is commercial substance, whether lack of commercial substance, we can recognize the gain without any problem. But how to recognize the gain is the main question for us. So if there is commercial substance, simply we recognize the gain, and if there is lack of commercial substance, it depends, because if the exchange has lack of commercial substance and cash is not received, we defer the gain. If exchange has lack of commercial substance but in some case cash received, there is recognize the partial gain. Okay, so especially in similar asset, gain is not recognized because the economic activity is just similar. But if there is still there is similar asset but still it is commercial substance, we recognize gain. Okay, we recognize gain, simply we recognize gain. Okay, based on this we can evaluate some question or some example in order to support this theory. So in this illustration, we can bold it. Okay, we can add the bold it. So assume in this company used a machine for new model at your business solution Inc. The exchange have commercial substance. So before there is exchange has commercial substance. Simply the exchange has commercial substance already here. So what will be the book value of the old machine? The book value of the old machine is 8,000. That means 12,000 less 4,000 is 8,000 is the book value, and the fair value of this is 6,000. Okay, 6,000. And also the new model list price is 16,000, and George is the other company give information process trade allowance or trading price is $9,000 for used machine. So in order to just evaluating this one, or determining this one, in order to determining this one, look, information processing computing the new cost machine. እዚህ ጋር የምናየው ኢንፎርሜሽን ፕሮሰሲንግ ኢንክ የሚባል ትሬዲንግ ካምፓኒ ከጃርድ ቢዝነስ ሶሉሽን ኢንክ ትሬዲንግ ካምፓኒ አንድ ዩዝድ ሜሽን በአዲስ ሞዴል ለመቀየር ይፈልጋል ማለት ነው። ይህ ካምፓኒ ያለው የዩዝድ ሜሽን ቡክ ቫልዩ 8000 ነው። ኦሪጂናል ኮስቱ 12000 ሲሆን አኩሙሌት ዲፕሪሲዬሽን ያደረገው አፕ ቱ ኤክስቼንጅ 4000 ነው። የሁለቱ ልዩነት 8000 ይሆናል ማለት ነው። ዘን እዚህ ጋር ፌር ቫልዩ ላይ ስንመጣ ግን ይሄ 8000 ቫልዩ ያለው ሜሽን ፌር ቫልዩ ግን አሁን ላይ 6000 ነው ማለት ነው። በት the new model list price 16000 ብር ነው። and trading allowance ወይም ደግሞ ይሄ አብዛኛው ላይ እንደ give value additionally for the new machine የምንለው 9000 ብር ሰጥቶታል። ለማን? ለኢንፎርሜሽን ፕሮሰሲንግ ትሬዲንግ ካምፓኒ ማለት ነው። ስለዚህ እዚህ ቦታ ላይ የምናየው the cost of new asset determine አድርግ ነው። what is determining the cost of the new asset? the cost of the new asset. therefore እዚህ ጋር the cost of the new asset determine ከማድረጋችን በፊት the cost of the new asset determine ከማድረጋችን በፊት መጀመሪያ የሚጠየቁ ወይም ደግሞ የምንሰራቸው ነገሮች ሊገቡ ይችላሉ ማለት ነው። ምክንያቱም መጀመሪያ first of all you have to determine the gain or the loss on the exchange and then determine easily the cost of the new asset, then journal entry for this exchange. So 3 things is expecting from you for this example, okay? 3 things is expecting from you for this example. That means information processing in trading company is used to matching for any model at your business solution Inc. The exchange has commercial substance. So in our example, the exchange that has a commercial substance and used machine as a book value is 8000 birr and the fair value is 6000 birr. Simply, what is the gain? The gain of exchange or the loss on exchange? Here is the loss on exchange because the fair value amount is less than the book value, then loss is recognized. Therefore, loss is recognized whether there is lack of commercial substance or else. So after determining our loss is 2000, the difference between 6000 and 8000 is minus negative 2000, then here is loss. Therefore, how to determining our question is how to determining the cost of the coming asset or the cost of the new asset. Therefore the cost of the new asset is equal to the listed price. How much is 16,000 birr? The listed price is 16,000 birr less here is traded in allowance already given up in cash by the new company. Therefore you have to deduct the original cost by this amount, then the cash payment by information processing and trading company is 7,000 birr. As well as with this balance the company also give his old asset. The value for the old asset is at fair value 6,000 birr. Then 13,000 birr is the cost of the new asset. We recognize this one, okay? We recognize the cost of the new asset is 13,000 birr. 13,000 birr. Okay. ይሄ ማለት አንድ ካምፓኒ ከሌላ ካምፓኒ ኤክስቼንጅ በሚያደርግበት ሰዓት the cost of new asset እንዲተርማይን ማድረግ አለብን ማለት ነው። the cost of the new asset እንዲተርማይን ማድረግ አለብን ማለት ነው። ስለዚህ cost of new asset እንዲተርማይን ከማድረጋችን በፊት ሉስ ነው ጌንም የሚለውን በዛው ላይ ማየት አለብን ማለት ነው። ስለዚህ the cost of new asset ወይም coming asset 13000 ብር ይሆናል ማለት ነው። Okay, so when you come to the see the journal entry, look, the equipment or the cost of new asset is 13,000 birr. The cost of new asset is 10,000 birr. And which account is debited balance? Accumulated depreciation of the old asset, accumulated depreciation, and the loss on exchange or the loss on disposal of also debited. And what will be credited? The equipment that means the historical cost. The historical cost of the equipment is debited, credited. Look here, 12,000 initial cost, and the cash payment is 7,000, that is debited. Therefore, debit and credit is agreed here, unless if it is any discrepancy. Therefore, you should check again in your work progress. So it is loss on disposal because the fair value of used machine is less than the book value of used machine. Simply. Okay, so in the gain situation, how to determine the gain for the asset? Look here, example. Look this example. There is 14,000 for that means this trading transportation company exchange the number of used truck plus the cash paid for some truck. Then the used truck have a commercial, the combined book value is 14,000. Okay, and there are different semi-used truck which is used by this trading company, which is exchanged with other company. Therefore, the book value of the trading interstate trading transportation company is 14,000. And the interstate purchase again experienced on the second-hand market indicate that the used truck is fair value 49,000. Then, in addition to this, the interstate pay 11,000 cash for the semi-truck. Semi-truck is the new truck or the coming truck in the exchange. Therefore, how to determining the cost of the semi-truck in exchange? So simply you have to evaluate the fair value of the used truck plus the cash payment by the company. Then 49,000 plus 11,000 is equal to 16,000 in exchange. 16,000 in exchange is the cost of used, the coming truck, the coming or the new truck. Then simply you have to calculate in such a way. So to determine the gain on exchange, you have to, here is the fair value, then here is the book value. When you compare the two things, we have recognized the gain on exchange. So how to record the gain on exchange? Then semi-truck is 16,000, which is the fair value 49,000 plus the cash paid by the company 11,000 for the semi-truck. Therefore, the cost of the new truck is 16,000. Then the accumulated depreciation, what? The old truck or the accumulated depreciation is his amount, and what will be credited? The used truck with their cost. Historical cost is 60,000 and new coming account, that is gain on exchange. What amount? 7,000. How to get it? This is 7,000. That is the fair value of the asset less the book value of the asset is equal to 7,000. Okay. Note that the book value of the asset used truck should be calculated up to the date of exchange. That means the accumulated depreciation up to the date of exchange should be calculated. In fully depreciated method or in partial depreciated method. Accordingly, the situation you have to calculate the accumulated depreciation of used truck before determining the book value at the time of exchange. Okay, because in some case there is fully depreciated method as well as there is partial depreciated method, or else there is fully and also partial depreciated method. Therefore, you have to recognize this one, and after that you can determining easily for the book value of used truck to comparing the fair value value. Okay, so when you come to lack of assume this exchange is lack of commercial substance. Assume this exchange is lack of commercial substance. In the other example, assume the second example is assume lack of commercial substance, and no, here is cash received, no cash received. Therefore, what will be the cost of the new asset? We can easily determining the cost of the new asset. The cost of the new asset is equal to, or determining the cost of the new asset is under two ways in the gains equation. One, you have to deduct to determine the cost of the new asset. You have to deduct the total cost of new asset less gain on exchange. For instance, in our example, the total cost of the new asset or the fair value of the new asset is $16,000. Yes, $16,000 less the gain is $17,000. The gain is $17,000, then is equal to $53,000 is the cost of the new asset when the gain is deferred or the gain is not recognized. If we recognize the gain, use the previous example, but if you defer the gain, or if the transaction lack of commercial substance, immediately we defer the gain. Therefore, the cost of the new asset is by deducting. You can get by deducting the cost of the old asset with, the total cost of the new asset at fair value less 7,000 gain is equal to 53,000. Or you can easily determine the cost of the new asset by adding the book value of the old asset. the book value of the old asset is 40,000, the book value is 40,000, or the book value of used asset plus the book value of used asset plus cash paid. Cash paid is equal to the new asset. Cost of a new asset. Excuse the cost of the new asset. That is 42,000 plus 11,000. Here is the cash paid by the company for the semi truck or the new asset is equal to 50,000. Excuse 53,000. Then here is 53,000 is similar with this transaction. Okay, this transaction. Okay, so the journal entry is here is we deferred again. So so under this situation we can do your example. And the second thing and the main important thing for this one is if there is also still commercial substance, and if there is cash received. In the case of cash received, in the case of cash payment, assume if there is lack of commercial substance, and if it is not cash received, gain is not recognized. But if it is lack of commercial substance and immediately if it is cash received, we recognize partial gain. We recognize gain. That is partial gain, or recognized gain is equal to the cash received both divided by the cash received both plus the sum of the fair value of other asset received, or the fair value of other asset received. That is, we should recognize